What's up guys, JP coming at you once again with another Top 10 Tuesday. This is a weekly series in which we being me and other members of the YouTube community, which you can find their links down below, sub them up. We got some new cats joining on. It's a lot of fun. We create top 10 lists based on predetermined topics. It's a lot of fun. It can be a subgenre, it could be a director's list, or in this case, it can be a DVD Blu-ray label. And today's top 10 video is going to be focusing on our top 10 Scream Factory releases. That's right, Scream Factory. This is one that a lot of people kind of wanted to see from us. It's my favorite label, so it's kind of right up my alley. I love these things. I've been a big fan for a while, since 2012 when they debuted. However, there is one disclaimer. The way that I created my top 10 list is based on I had to have seen the films and watched the special features. I have a lot of Scream Factories. You can see them over there. I have the majority of their releases. I would say I'm only behind by 20 to 30 releases. Out of those releases, I've actually not seen a lot of them. I've only seen the first, couple years of releases in terms of special features and the film itself, and a lot of those are still sealed. So my list is going to be focused more on the earlier releases simply because I have not got to the others yet. There's a reason for that as well. I was planning on doing this big series. I used to do it on my channel where I reviewed each and every release in depth. They started putting out way too many, so I kind of abandoned that series. But right now I've been kind of going through and really kind of rapid fire going through all of their releases now. So I have a decent amount here that I'm going to do a top 10 list with, but this list is subject to change. It will change as I get further and further down the line of releases and watch all the special features and stuff, because that's very important to me in these DVD labels, is the special features. But that said, this list will probably be very different very shortly, but this is the list that I feel comfortable with right now. It's my top 10 right now, because these are the ones that I've seen. With that said, let's jump into number 10. Coming in at number 10, we have The Battery. This film was truly amazing. We covered it on one of the episodes last summer, or last, fallish, on the podcast, and it's one of our most successful episodes in terms of viewership, but it's also one of my favorite episodes because of this film. We discussed this film completely in depth, so if you want to hear a review on it, definitely check out that episode of the podcast. I swear these videos are becoming a weekly podcast plug. Do not intend for that to happen. It just seems like we recover something every week that we've talked about on the podcast. Anyway, this film, we all loved it. I gave it a 10 out of 10. It's Scream Factory's absolute best contemporary release. There's some decent features on it as well. Audio commentary, making of, that's about 90 minutes long. It's a feature-length making of. It's just such an amazing zombie film that was created on such a small budget. That's why I always point this film out when somebody says, well, they only had this amount of money. I'm like, well, The Battery only had that amount of money. It actually had less money than that. You can make a good film if you're talented, and you can make a good film if you put your heart into it. And the people that made The Battery, Jeremy Gardner, he did, man, and it's a solid film. I love it. I recommend it to everybody, even people who are not horror fans. Anybody who's like, I love The Walking Dead, I'll be like, you should check out this zombie film. It's called The Battery. It's indie. It's awesome. Check it out. And, The Battery. Coming in at number 10 definitely deserves a spot on this list. Coming in at number 9, we have Tobe Hooper's The Funhouse. I'm actually quite surprised that I enjoyed this release as much as I did, because honestly, the film is decent. It's a solid, 7 out of 10 slasher. It's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, the killer is kind of weakish, but then again, the atmosphere is super cool and moody. It's set in a carnival or a theme park, a fun house, and I just love that thick, rich atmosphere. I love the ending of the film where you kind of see the carnival and things like that. I mean, it's so cool. You have to like it based on just its unique setting. One of the things that I really like about this release is the special features. There's an audio commentary with director Tobe Hooper. That was okay. It was pretty good, but there's some decent interviews, video interviews on here with the executive producer, and he really kind of walks you through how the film came about, how the film was financed, and I always find those particularly interesting in 80s slashers, because there was just a slew of them, and it's like, I'd love to learn the story on how this one stood out from the pack, or how this one had an angle that others didn't, or what was the gimmick in this one, or how did this one perform in a world filled with slashers. How fast was it thrown together? I just eat that stuff up. I love it. They talk about it on the special features on here, and that's one of the reasons I really like this release. That was a really cool story, hearing about how the film came about. Very good stuff here. That's Tobe Hooper's The Funhouse coming in at number 9. Number 8, The Howling. The Howling is a film that I did not love when I first seen it. Everybody told me it's the best werewolf film of all time. It's one of the best werewolf films of all time. I checked it out and I was like, no, this is not the best werewolf film of all time. It's not even one of the best werewolf films of all time. Boy, was I mistaken. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. Years later, and a lot of it is owed to this release, I checked it out again. I was like, what the fuck was I thinking? This is a fantastic movie. The atmosphere is thick. The, werewolves look great. It's a classic tale of a werewolf film, done, in 81 or so, where like, you didn't really have a whole lot of werewolf films like this at that time, and I just kind of saw it in a whole new light and was like, this is an amazing werewolf film. Still not my favorite werewolf film. That would go to Ginger Snaps, but this is now one of my favorite werewolf films, top 3 at least. And The Howling, man, to see it now in this new light and actually appreciate it. The special features, this release is stacked. It got some great stuff on it, from audio commentaries with Joe Dante. You have making ofs, multi-part. They kind of go through the franchise a little bit in a short, condensed version. I love that special feature. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that was packaged, ported over from the MGM release. But there's also a lot of new stuff that Scream Factory put together. Horror's Hallowed Grounds, which is like my favorite fucking special feature that Scream Factory does, and they don't do enough of them. The one for The Howling was really funny with Sean Clark. Just a fantastic release. This is, out of the earlier Scream Factories that I've seen, this is probably, as of right now, I think this might be the most stacked release in terms of special features, at least from those first couple of years of Scream Factory releases. So the Howling comes in at number 8 here. Coming in at number 7, we have Sleepaway Camp. I love this film. There's just something about this film that I truly do love. It's becoming one of my favorite horror films of all time. It just has this weirdness to it that it was able to capture something special. It was like a perfect storm of these weird elements. You have the ending. Of course, everybody talks about the ending, but you also have the weird cook character who's like very child molesty. Ricky, who's this foul-mouthed little bastard. It has all these different things that combine together, that are weak by themselves, but combined together just make for an oddball, awesome movie. And the transfer on this is fantastic, and there's some good special features on here as well. Man, I mean, this is for sure one of my favorite releases by Scream Factory. It's in my top 10. This one is something that I'm super happy with. I even have the Sleepaway Camp poster up there. Coming in at number 6, Day of the Dead, and this one was a recent watch for me. Last week, popped this in, watched all the special features. Man, I'll tell you what, this film is so good, and I always forget just how good Day of the Dead is. It is an amazing movie, and it looks great on Scream Factory. I would love to do a Romero Dead show one day on the podcast, because I would love to just discuss these zombie films from Romero. I mean, they're just so good, and Day of the Dead is my favorite. It's my second favorite zombie film of all time as well, and for a second there I was considering bumping it up to my first over Return of the Living Dead, because of how just impressed I was with it. The gore, the claustrophobic feeling, the opening post-apocalyptic style setting, and then they thrust you into this claustrophobic, condensed environment. The zombies look great, the characters are great, fantastic. To top it off, it has a great behind the scenes. There's a feature-length documentary on here that goes in depth and talks about all kind of things that I didn't know about. That is one of my favorite special features that Scream Factory has done, because it really is just this long documentary talking to Tom Savini and all the actors involved in the film, and George himself. and it's just so interesting to hear what they have to say about it, as well as it has some other special features that are really cool as well. It has like this Horrorphile grounds like on-set location visit thing that I didn't really care for that much because it just simply seemed like a lesser version of Horror's Hallowed Grounds. There is 2 commentaries on this that I have not got the chance to listen to yet. This is, out of all these releases, this is the only release that I haven't seen all the special features for. Strike that, there's one other one, but I'll explain why. Day of the Dead though, man, fantastic release by Scream Factory, and this is probably my favorite cover art as well. This is really good stuff right here. Coming in at number 5, we have Phantasm 2. This release is also really good, and I wasn't expecting it to be as strong considering it's Phantasm. You know, everybody knows about Phantasm. We probably know all the stories. I doubt they'll really try to create a bunch of new special features, and they did. Like, there's a really good commentary with Koss and Angus Scrimm on there, and Reggie Bannister. That's a great commentary. They go back and forth. I mean, it's probably one of my favorite commentaries on these Scream Factory discs, just because it's 3 guys who are truly friends, who are talking about these movies that they had such a great experience making. And it really comes across fun and lighthearted, as well as very informative. Good stuff there on that commentary. And then there's, of course, interviews. There's like this long behind the scenes on the set videos of when they exploded the house and how big of a situation that was, where they had to coordinate all these different things. They had to have like 3 different cameras for 3 different angles of the house. I mean, it was so cool to see that stuff. You know, see the tall man in action and stuff. Great stuff here as well. This is a fantastic release. Transfer is good. Phantasm 2 is one of my favorite horror films as well. Coming in at number 4, we have From Beyond. This one blew me away. This has a lot of great special features on it. The film itself is solid. It's, you know, like that Empire fun full moony style film, you know, of the higher quality. You know, it's not the most amazing film in the world, but I really liked it. It was a lot of fun. You know, Stuart Gordon, H.P. Lovecraft, Ken Foray, Barbara Crampton. You know, it's a good film, but the special features are really good. The commentary with Stuart Gordon is a lot of fun. There's a lot of featurettes, and one in particular really talk about the Empire days and putting the film together and stuff like that. You know, the stories behind that was just super freaking cool. So From Beyond is definitely a really good release by Scream Factory. Alright, coming in at number 3, we have Terror Vision the Video Dead. This should have been a collector's edition. This is definitely Scream Factory's best double feature. This is when they first this is their first double feature, actually. The way they did it, they like took 2 films that have a similar concept where you're dealing with like technology and TVs and stuff, and they made the double feature very themed. And I love that about it, because these films go so well together. You can watch them both back to back. Terror Vision being the one that you watch first. It's more upbeat, more in your face, it's more fun, it's silly. And then you have The Video Dead, which is more slow paced and a little bit slower to watch as the night kind of winds down. I love that about it. And, you know, both have cool themes. The theme song for both of them are pretty cool. You know, Terror Vision obviously has one of the catchiest tunes in horror film history. But not only that, not only do you have an awesome release here, you have awesome special features. You have audio commentaries on both of the films. The Video Dead has 2 audio commentaries. You have all kind of behind the scenes stuff. I mean, these films are so... This is one of my favorite releases simply because of the special features. I mean, these things are stacked for a non-collector's edition double feature. I mean, it's truly impressive. And these are both really fun films. I actually like The Video Dead a little bit more, but I know most people like Terror Vision. This is such a good release. I recommend this to everybody. Coming in at number 2, we have They Live. Now, I've never been the biggest fan of They Live, the film. It has grown on me over the years, though, and I really do like it a lot now, especially after watching the special features. And that's what I love about this release. The commentary between Roddy Piper and John Carpenter is among my favorite commentaries, and I'm not sure why. I guess it's kind of learning a lot about Roddy Piper in just, you know, an hour and a half, and him really kind of talking about his career, but also talking about, you know, his wrestling career, his acting career, his relationship with John, you know, how he came up with it. I mean, he talks about everything, and him and John have this great relationship where they're just very complimentary of each other, and it's truly a joy to listen to. You know, R.I.P. to Roddy Piper, even, you know, especially after his death. I really do encourage people to pick this release up, listen to the commentary, and kind of honor you know, an underrated actor and, you know, a true professional. And from what I understand from everybody who's, you know, talked about him and people who have met him, just an all-around awesome guy. So They Live coming in at number 2. And finally coming in at number 1 is the Halloween box set. Now I have not seen every special feature on here, but really the ones that I'm picking is the original releases of Halloween 3 or 2. 3 is really the good release, but this box set as a whole is my favorite release so far, just because having all these films in one place, having the producer's cut of Halloween 6, having, you know, these Horror's Hallowed Grounds, and I mean, it's just so stacked with features. I really got to get around to checking out more of the features on here, but even if I was just going to pick one of these, it would be the Halloween 3, because that release is really, really good. You have great commentary from Tommy Lee Wallace, you have a Horror's Hallowed Grounds episode, which is hilarious, you have all these different interviews, and you have this retrospect on the, you know, Halloween 3. I mean, to see a film that is so underappreciated or always has been underappreciated get this kind of treatment was really, really awesome. So that is my top 10 Scream Factories. Of course, this list will change, I'm sure, once I get to Pumpkinhead, Night of the Demons, Pumpkinhead 2, Nightbreed. I'm sure that those could probably replace some of these on the list. I've still not checked out a lot of those heavy hitters, Ginger Snaps, the list goes on and on. I'll see you guys next time with another video. Thank you for watching. Peace out.